Mike Muehlebach was in town last night to call the game for the Pac-12 Network. It joins us right now. Matty, how are you?
I'm good, Bill. It was a fun game to call.
They were good last night, really, from the jump. They turned the ball over 4 times in the first 4 minutes, did Utah, but after that, they only had 7 the rest of the game, and really were in control of that thing from the jump.
Yeah, they really were. You know, they just I don't know. It's a team that has great role definition. You know, you got the playmaker, the star, at least point wise, in Timmy Allen. You know, I thought you said it perfectly. You got Rylan Jones. He's everything. The glue, the quarterback, all the cliches you want to throw out there. He's fantastic. And then Gotch, to me last night, I mean, his athleticism, his speed, really, and how fast he gets from, like, you know, 1 free throw line to the rim, or half court to the rim is really, it jumps out at you when you watch the game.
No, I'm with you, and he, to me, you know, Jones has shown, and again, he's only a freshman, but he's shown you know what he's going to be. He knocks down shots, get everybody else involved. Timmy Allen's just going to be the guy, the scorer. But, you know, when Gotch goes for 17 and 5 or whatever he went for last night, attacks the rim, and his length on defense is pretty good too. That's, to me, when Utah's at its best.
Yeah, he's kind of that one guy Utah doesn't necessarily have, you know, almost like an NBA body, you know, a DeLon Wright body, really long and athletic, and you know, it's just he's like you said, when he plays well, when he's engaged, and when he knocks down a shot or two, that helps him open things up. I thought, you know, going back to Timmy, I thought what Timmy showed was really interesting last night because he gets so much of his game, you know, off that left shoulder, where he gets to the right, he gets on his right hand, and Oregon State did everything they could to block that right-hand side, and he got to his left really well last night. And I talked to him after the game about it. I think he's been hearing that a lot. He sees it now in conference. You know, we talked about there's no secrets. And it reminded me a little bit of, you know, when you see guys guard James Harden, and they go so far to the left that he's able to exploit it really well. Like he either just goes all the way right, or he starts to move right, and the player then has to adjust so far over that then he can get back to his dominant hand. And so when I guarded guys, I remember that were really like right-hand or left-hand dominant, I almost guard them straight up because you can get the counter move sometimes get you way more off balance. And I thought Timmy, his adjustment, you know, to get to that left side was big.
I'll tell you another guy that didn't have a big statistical night but is beginning to kind of come along. He's a freshman, and I thought he was really big down the stretch in the second half in his ability to guard Trace Tinkle was Mikael Jantunen last night. I thought his length, and he's kind of got the ability to guard 2s, 3s, and 4s at 6'8", 6'9", and that kind of allowed Utah not to have Timmy Allen on Trace Tinkle last night. Jantunen ended up with 8 points. He got in some foul trouble early, but I thought his defense caused Tinkle some trouble last night.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would actually say he's an elite defender. Even at this age, at this early, precocious age, he's an elite defender. And like you said, one of the things that makes him elite is he can guard multiple positions. And I think, you know, what was nice is Larry can put him on Trace or someone like that early, keep Timmy out of foul trouble. And Timmy can shut guys down too, but it's nice to let Timmy, and I saw Timmy, they kind of went back and forth late in that game. You kind of let Timmy get to him late. When he has no fouls on him. So it was a huge advantage. He could play aggressively. He could really get up on him, and then you switch it back and forth with Jantunen. So I don't know, this Utah team, man. It's crazy to think. We talked about it yesterday, Bill. There are 2 teams in the entire NCAA. I think it's Incarnate Word and Memphis that are younger than Utah. So for Utah to be 10-4. Where they're at right now with the youth that they have, it's pretty amazing, and it's pretty very optimistic looking for the Utes in the next, not only this year but in the coming years.
Well, and to be very fair, Matt, who knows with this conference? Last night, Oregon goes on the road, gets beat by Colorado. Granted, Colorado's a good team, but UCLA goes on the. UCLA has been really bad. They have really bad losses in the non-conference season. They went to Washington last night and beat the Huskies. This conference is hard to figure, and I think if you play well and play consistently, it's going to benefit you in the long run.
Yeah, it really will. And it's the old thing, win your games at home and then split on the road. And I think tomorrow will be a big one for Utah. If they could all of a sudden go 2-0 and looking at two games where they could go 0-2. That'd be a big swing for them. Oregon will come in hungry, of course. So that's going to be a tough one. What time is that game, Bill?
It's early. It's 3 o'clock, so there's not a lot of time for it. It's not one of these Thursday, Sunday, or even Thursday, Saturday, 8 p.m. It's a Thursday, 3 p.m. Thursday, Saturday, 3 p.m.
Well, again, the good news for Utah, they've had plenty of rest. They had 10 days in between the game last night, so they should be feeling pretty good. And even though Oregon's hungry, they get them. It's a tough trip to fly into Boulder and then head back to Salt Lake right away.
Matt Muehlebach's our guest for the Pac-12 Networks here on ESPN 700. I'd be curious, as you look at it, are there kind of defined tiers right now in the Pac-12, or is that still to be determined?
I think it's still to be determined. I think going into last night, you might have said Oregon, Arizona, those two maybe have the best ceilings on the league, and then you had kind of 3 through 8, could jumble that around any way you want to look at it. And then I would have thought, or actually 3 through 9, because then I would have said 10, 11, 12, or UCLA, Cal, and Washington State. But as you just mentioned, UCLA, that kind of blew that tier. Oregon is number 1, kind of blew that for me. Of course, Colorado was, a vote behind them in the preseason. So it's not as if, they didn't, we don't know who they are, and they just beat Dayton. So I think it's too early to tell.
What's lies ahead with Oregon, Matt, for the Utah fans that haven't seen Oregon play yet in basketball, and a lot of people haven't been paying close attention to hoops just yet? We obviously know Peyton Pritchard because he's kind of like Trace Tinkle. He's been around for about 10 years in this league. But what else does Dana Altman bring in on Saturday?
Well, they've got some good shooting. They've got length. They've got a freshman big guy who's really good. I like their guards. Their guards are very good. But let's go back to Pritchard. You mentioned, most people should know him. I think it's going to be fascinating to watch, because Utah is playing a ton of man and less zone than they've played, and it's going to be interesting to watch Rylan Jones and Pritchard. Now, maybe what they do is they move Rylan over, and I'm not sure who he'll guard because Oregon's pretty big, but they also could put, Gotch on him or, other guys like that. But I think the Rylan-Pritchard matchup is kind of, the old guard and the new guard, and that's going to be a fun one to just kind of, the game within the game.
As you look at it right now, and again, we're in Larry Krzyzewski language, we're a third of the way through the season. Coach divides things up, non-conference, conference, postseason. But how many teams do you think this league, on the high side and on the low side, give me the best case and worst case scenario for tournament time for the Pac-12 this year?
Well, I think you could make an argument 6 or 7 on the high side. I think if you looked at the net rankings last night, there were about 7 teams that were in the top, 60 or so. And I think on the low side, maybe it would be, 4. Because again, there's so much to shake out on those net rankings. I know Utah has 2 victories against Quadrant 1 and 2 victories against Quadrant 2. And the way that works, though, is you could have a team like, I think Nevada is a Quadrant 2 win, but they could have a great conference, and all of a sudden they're a Quadrant 1 when the Selection Sunday comes out. So those numbers have a long way to move, and so there's so much left. But I really think kind of the sweet spot for the league is somewhere between like 4 and 7.
I wouldn't disagree with you on that. Utah jumped up about 8 spots in the net rankings with that win. They're at number 50 right now, at least according to what I saw this morning. 1-1 in Quadrant 1, 3-0 in Quadrant 2, 2-2 in Quadrant 3, and 4-0 in Quadrant 4. So but those wins, the Nevada win, the Minnesota win, the BYU win, and the Kentucky win are all probably going to get better as it goes along.
Yeah, exactly. I think all 4 of those will. I think, and the one that might get really better is BYU. I mean, they may kind of run through their conference, obviously, other than they got St. Mary's and Gonzaga. But again, if they, for example, split, if they play both those teams, I don't know if they play them twice, but if they're able to say, hold home court against the Gonzaga and the St. Mary's, man, they could really jump. And you look at like not even losing on the road will hurt them. And if they take care of business with everybody else, I was really impressed with them despite them losing to Utah in that OT game.
Before I let you go, 2 more things. Your alma mater, Arizona, plays Arizona State. That's a big game. That's that interstate, territorial type game. What are you expecting in that game on Saturday?
Well, I think, it's crazy to say this. This reminds me of the NFL. You like week 1 or week 2 is already a must win. And it almost feels like for Arizona, it's a weird must win because it's a home game. They haven't played to their best the last 3 out of 4 weeks. And they were like Utah had 10 days off. And it's almost like, hey, if you can't hold your home court against your rival and you've had a few bad weeks, it just feels for them like it's a really, even though it's the first game, it's a huge game. I think Arizona State is probably more of, hey, if you lose that game on the road, that's not the worst. But then I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Arizonas maybe go to Oregon next week. So that's a tough start for both those teams, or for Arizona State especially, because you start with 3 road games. So, and then they have the rivalry. So it's man, you just jump right into league play with a rivalry, which is, I never remember doing that when I played, but I think it's actually kind of fun.
Hey, before I let you go, what's the formula for Utah beating Oregon on Saturday?
Well, I think Oregon can really shoot it at times. I mean, they can bombard you with points, and they can shoot the ball. And I think the formula for them, and it's going to be the same formula for the rest of the season, is defense. How much can that defense get better? Because J.B. Long and I were doing the game last night, and you look at Utah's numbers, and defensively they're not as good as you would think. I look out on the floor, and it looks pretty good. And so I just think that if they're able to, like they did with Oregon State last night, play kind of a 40-minute game on the defensive end, Oregon can be so explosive. So you got to, and that was the other thing, at times Utah, they can be a better rebounding team, like a lot of teams. But if they can tighten that up, Pritchard can go nuts. But I go back to that matchup, Jones or Gotch on Pritchard's going to be fun. But it's really, you can't give those guys, you can't let them make 12 threes. If they do that, though, it's going to be a tough night.
What do you got this weekend?
Bill, I got a great weekend. I've got my daughter, her club volleyball. I don't have a game on tomorrow. Got her club volleyball
nice
tournament tomorrow, and we're all fired up for that. So I think I'll be at that tournament, and we'll have the Pac-12 network app going for the Arizona ASU game.
That'll be fantastic. We'll enjoy that volleyball down in Arizona, and we'll talk to you soon, Matt. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Have a good one.